welcome into another episode of the Pain and Panic Podcast. Adam Sheets and Chris Reynolds with you on this beautiful Sunday evening here in November, getting ready for Thanksgiving week coming up and a fun precursor. A lot of teams going into a short week, so always wonder how that's going to go. But, the teams that play on Thursday actually had a very solid day today, Christopher.
They did, and I feel like this week, too, a lot of overtime games, which I feel like was very fun. The 1 o'clock slate, a lot of one-possession games coming to the end. And the 4 o'clock slate, the Eagles-Cowboys game looked like a blowout, became interesting, and then now looking like a blowout during Rams-Bucks. We're recording during that game, but right now Rams up 21-0.
21-0 is the most dangerous lead in the NFL today, Chris.
Guess so.
Yeah, so definitely danger on this beautiful football Sunday, but, Chris is apparently a Mets fan, and I guess people care about Brandon Nimmo. I didn't think people cared about guys who hadn't played a baseball game since September, but, yeah, okay.
Listen,
it's the end of November. But
I want to do a quick 1-minute thing with Brandon Nimmo, then we'll go all to football, but I'll start
we'll
with
do a
timer,
deal.
Adam,
Only
okay?
if I get 5 minutes when Bo Bichette signs.
You get 1 minute.
I get 5.
You get 1 minute.
All
right, I'll start by 1 minute now.
About 5
ready?
more weeks.
You ready? All right.
Sure.
Brandon Nimmo getting traded from the Mets is the most overrated, I don't even know what's the word
You
for
didn't know
it,
what
Adam.
you're saying.
What's the word? What's the word?
What are you trying? Because people are overreacting to it.
Yes, let me restart. Ready?
There you go.
Brandon Nimmo getting traded from the Mets is the most over-exaggerated trade, and most people freaking out for no reason. Brandon Nimmo was on the Mets for a long time. People grew attached to him. I get that. But from a baseball standpoint, he was one of the worst defenders in the league. They had to move him to left field because he couldn't keep up in center field anymore. Offensively, he had a good bounce back year at the plate, but he's very inconsistent. And honestly, I don't think he was that good. Last year was one of his best seasons, but defensively, they have Marte in the outfield. They have Soto in the outfield. Their only good defender is Tyrone Taylor out there. So they needed to improve their defense. In the infield, Vientos is only an arm, no glove. Their second base, McNeil, they're going to get rid of. Alonso has no range. Great scooper, no range. Lindor is the only good defender they have on the infield. So now they get rid of Brandon Nimmo. Hurts the heart because he was on the Mets for a while, but now you get a gold glove second baseman who had it down your hitting wise, but a gold glover who can hit with power. Maybe he bounces back compared to Nimmo, and they're going to save $25 million. No one cares about that. But they're saving money, getting rid of this guy in a long-term deal who's only going to get worse, who's a terrible defender, whose hitting is streaky. There we go.
Man.
Thank you.
Guy hasn't played baseball in 2 months, but I guess we needed to talk about him.
Well, when I go on Instagram, he's traded, I'm celebrating, like, yes, we finally got rid of this gigantic contract. People are like, why did we do this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like at best like a 260 hitter with no defense.
Maybe they wanted more for him. You never know. Maybe
they just were upset that they traded someone. But you know what? If we lost Alonso, they'd be upset. Or if we lost Diaz, now we could re-sign those guys. Also, not to mention, all of the Mets, their top prospect is an outfielder. So then they have another prospect who's an outfielder. So they have guys to replace him who are young and better, who are going to be cheap compared to Brandon Nimmo's expensive deal. And now they could re-sign guys, or maybe they make a trade for Tucker, or you could say maybe for Cody Bellinger. But now you have more flexibility to trade for guys. And Semien is a great infielder defensively and offensively, better than McNeil anyways.
Yeah, maybe. For your sake, I just hope Nimmo doesn't have a revenge season in Texas.
He could have a revenge season, but guess what? I don't want his revenge season. His revenge season would be 280 and the ability to catch a fly ball hit directly at him.
Well, I was talking more about maybe a revenge season where he has a bunch of big postseason hits if Texas bounces back and makes the playoffs. That would
I don't know. Nimmo also,
swallow.
I won't include this in the short because this is a personal thing. He's like one of those like, shucks, I'm Brandon Nimmo, and I believe that we should all just be kumbaya, and then, whatever. But then he's kind of a diva, off the field. Like they say, like, one of the people said that, like, Alex Verdugo was better than him, and he ripped that guy apart, like, after, like, in the tunnels one day when he saw him. And, like, he's, like, a really friendly guy, so that was weird. Also, Lindor, everyone wants Lindor to be the captain. No one wants Brandon Nimmo to be the captain. But Brandon Nimmo came out and was like, well, a lot of people could be the captain. Everyone says Lindor or Alonso, but it's really me, Lindor, and Alonso. And I'm like, no one's ever said that. If you're the only one calling yourself the leader, you're not the leader. You just, think you are, which is sadder. And then he was apparently against Lindor becoming a captain and drew a whole hissy fit about it. And I hated that.
You never know, man.
I
You
think he's
never know.
fake nice. He's like Angela from The
I
Office.
don't think he's fake nice.
I
Okay,
think I think he's like Angela from The Office. Seems like a good guy, but he's like Angela from The Office, where it's like, oh, if I'm not the captain, then he's gonna cry about it.
in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, if he's fake nice, it would have came out really, really fast, and
I
they would
think he every time he talks, you could tell it's like out of some AI machine.
maybe. You never
I
know.
honestly think people just don't watch him play defense because he was the second. Actually, the Mets were so bad defensively, he wasn't even that bad compared to them, but he's
Yeah.
terrible.
So he's just a bad defender on a bad team. You know, hey, you put him in a good culture, you never know. He could get better.
The Mets had the worst defense ever. They had two people who were decent at defense.
Yeah,
Francisco
I know.
Lindor and Tyrone Taylor, who can't hit.
I know. That's why, like I said, we're talking about a team that just is going to collapse next year anyway. So it's just that's what
Listen,
it is.
if they actually got a competent defensive team, I'd be like, oh, cool. They could actually, field a ground ball. They have a pitching staff full of ground ball pitchers and people who can't field. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But
Ridiculous. All right, let's get to
this
football.
was
Thank you for
this
letting me
wasn't a
talk about it.
blockbuster baseball trade. You know, like this didn't
Adam,
set the world on fire.
if we do a hashtag New York Mets and the fans get a hold of this, they're gonna be, you don't know anything about Nimmo. He was important.
I said the baseball world. I didn't say the Mets world.
I'm not. This isn't breaking news. If it's about your team, you care passionately. If it's not about your team, no one cares. That's how
That's
baseball
what I said.
works.
Like
That's
you
who I
know,
am.
like all the teams that were playing late into October, they were probably like, yeah, Brandon Nimmo got traded. Cool. All right. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't work. We'll see. Could be a good trade. Could be a bad trade.
I think when you're saving money, even if Semien sucks, you're still saving $25 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you never know. Could be good. But money doesn't matter in baseball, Chris. We've talked about this. Just keep spending, baby. Just keep spending, baby. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Plus, it could be a 1-year rental because, they're not playing baseball in 2 years. So, hey.
That's also a good point.
Yeah, so. All right. Are you ready to get to football? You off your soapbox?
Yeah, I was just checking. Tez Johnson scored.
Yeah, Tez Johnson just scored.
21-7.
Yeah, here we go. Told you, 21-0. Most dangerous lead in sports.
Yeah.
All right, so, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about the Mets, I thought. Well, I don't know.
I'm okay with not hearing about it. I'm sure it was negative.
Just keep spending money. Just keep spending money.
We're saving money. We're finally doing what people want.
That makes no sense. First of all, I don't know why people would want you to save money, because if the owner's willing to spend it, just keep spending it. It's not your money.
I think you could spend money on guys who are good. When you spend it on guys like Brandon Nimmo, it's like, well, now you're just wasting money.
Yeah. Gotta keep guys around that people like. Put butts in seats. Sell jerseys.
2030.
Sell jerseys.
Making like $25 million a year.
That's not too bad. All the baseball contracts are like 15 years nowadays. So.
I know, but when you're not good and you're already aging terribly, I don't want it.
No Bobby Bonilla contract, so it's not one of those.
Listen, Bobby Bonilla trade, let the Mets get David Wright. Happily do that trade 10 times more.
Yeah, keep paying him.
No one talks about David Wright being the, outcome of that, but
let's
get to Week 12 recap, Adam.
All right. Well, we'll start with the elephant in the room. Chris, you needed a big comeback in game picks, as we're heading down the closing stretch. You didn't get it today.
I would be super aggressive, Adam.
Well, I really saw it when I had to second guess. Like, did you actually pick the Vikings to beat the Packers?
Well, what happened was you picked a lot of the chalk picks, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick all these upsets, and all the ones I picked were the ones that didn't happen. And it looked great for a little bit, because the Colts were beating the Chiefs, the Cardinals were about to beat the Jags, and I was like, well, that's 2 that I got. And I thought the Raiders had a chance, but then Myles Garrett just, did not let Geno Smith do anything today.
Shadur, baby. I told you that one was happening. Yeah, but also, I tried to help you out. I tried to talk you into picking the Cowboys. That would have really helped you out this week. I tried to tell you about the split. I didn't pick the Cowboys anyway because I have to support the Eagles. But I tried to talk you into picking them boys, but wasn't meant to be. So, Chris, you're now 8 games back with about 1, 2. We're through week 12, so we get to week 18. So you got some time, but a dangerous stretch you have coming up here in the game picks. Also, you fell. Now you are 7 points back in the upset picks, which isn't too bad. You can get it all back if you get a big super dog comeback, and of course, upset picks can go. But I got mine right. You got yours wrong this week. So
wait, the Cardinals covered.
Push doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
The spread was 3. You don't get your money back for a push.
You know what's really annoying? I was between the Cardinals and the Chiefs, and or no, it's between the Cardinals and the Colts. Colts covered. Cardinals didn't. I told you I almost picked the Colts because it was 3.5 instead of 3.
Yeah.
I thought, but if it's a 3, you don't lose your bet.
Yeah, but you don't win it either.
I think I should get half a point.
You're not getting half a point. I'm not putting half a points in our list.
Give me half a point. They covered.
Nope.
I picked it correctly.
In the fine print, I put the pushes don't count. So you get 1 point for a cover, 2 for a outright win for 3-point dogs, and you would have got it for an outright win or a cover, but you didn't. No pushes. No pushes necessary, man. All right. So, what game you want to start with, Chris? Where do you want to start? There were some big
Start
games.
with the 1 o'clock games. 1 o'clock
Start
games.
with the 1 o'clock games. Do you want to start specifically with one, or do you want to?
I'm just going to go down the list on ESPN, okay?
All right, so we're going to start with the Colts and the Chiefs, I'm assuming?
Does that work? 1 o'clock down. Pittsburgh, Chicago is the first one listed. Is that
all right?
Is that okay?
We can start there. We can start with the Chicago Bears.
Yes. Let's start with the Chicago Bears, who somehow are 8-3, Adam?
Yep.
How is that possible? They started the season 0-2, and it was like, oh, Caleb sucks. And I feel like watching half these games, he isn't that great at some of the easy throws. However, he had one of the worst strip sacks I've ever seen. He's going to the ground, would have been a safety, and then I don't know what he went to do. He kind of just let go of the ball. I think he was saying, I'd rather try to do an intentional grab. I don't know what he was doing. And yet the Bears win. 8-3. With the Eagles lost today, what are they, tied for the conference?
They're tied with the Eagles, yep. But the Rams have 2 losses, so.
True. We'll see what happens after today. But probably going to be, but they're winning the division right now, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know. And I think for the Steelers, we're seeing, especially without Rodgers, like, even though they played well, probably not making the playoffs anymore. I just want what are your vibes on the Bears right now?
Bears, I like them. They find ways to win games. They kind of remind me of a worse version, and I think a lot of it's the division they're in, a worse version of the Commanders from last year, where they're just finding ways to win. Like, after Jaden got hurt, it was like they weren't playing really well, but they were finding ways to win all these games. I feel like that's kind of where Chicago is. They're not playing great, but Ben Johnson's proven he's got a winning culture there right now. They're 8-3. They're in a really good spot. I mean, they have a tough one on Black Friday coming up against the Eagles in Philly, but, they're going to have good opportunities here. So I like the Bears. I think Caleb continues to get better, make some big-time throws, and is finding ways to win these games. This was a team last year that had opportunities to win a bunch of games, and, Matt Eberflus and, the culture just wasn't there, and they'd find ways to lose them, it felt like. But no, they're in a really, really good spot, as Devontae Adams just scored another touchdown for the Rams, by the way. But yeah, they're in a really, really good spot for Chicago, sitting as, I believe, the 2 seed, potentially playing for the 2 seed here, coming up against Philly on Friday.
Yeah, true. The Philly game probably, assuming they lose, they would be, but then the Packers have that tie. So I think they'd be behind the Packers, but I don't know. Actually, no, they're ahead of the Packers because they have the same losses, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't really think they're legit, but I also think,
I wouldn't
make
pick them
playoffs.
to win a playoff game right now, but right now, 8-3.
It's just weird when you're the 2 seed and you're winning, and you're. That is time. We changed it from the car horn to all of our listeners from last week or 2 weeks ago.
I liked
the
car horn.
Stop the car horn.
I liked the car horn.
Anyways, next one.
Already.
New England at Cincinnati. Patriots won 26-20. However, you had to sweat this out. I think the Patriots got stopped 9 straight plays on the 1-yard line. It was one drive. They had 4 plays. On the 4th play, there was defensive pass interference. They did another 4 plays, got stopped every single time. And then later in the game, they got to the 1, tried it, couldn't get it, and they just ended up kicking field goals. I think the Patriots are going to keep winning. Their schedule is very easy, but I think they're definitely better than the Bears, but in the similar note of a similar vein of they have a very good record. However, against these good teams, I don't know if I'd actually pick them.
Yeah, they play the Giants next week. Then they get a late bye, so they get the bye in week 14 before they come back for a big one against the Bills at home. But no, they're in a really good spot. They did not look good today. Drake threw that pick 6 early to put them down 10-0. This was a team with the Bengals who were playing without Jamar Chase, but they hung in there, so that's good to see for Cincinnati as they're trying to maybe continue to make a push if Joe Burrow comes back next week. But no, it's definitely did not look great, wasn't promising. But again, it's a team that I think you have to give somewhat of a leeway to because of their team that hasn't had their bye yet. So it's been a long season for them, especially. So it's kind of like you're going to have these bumps in the road. But they're 10-2. They sit alone at the top of the AFC because the Colts lost today. The Broncos also have 2 losses, but they were on bye this week. But they're in a really, really good spot in New England, and we'll see if they're able to hold on. Drake May, had his first, some worries today, and the red zone offense, of course, is going to be a concern. But finding ways to win these games, and if they have home field through the playoffs, they're able to keep the 1 seed. That is a tough place to go in and win in January with the weather up in New England.
I completely agree. I think that's interesting. I also just realized, like you said, Week 14 still has bye weeks.
Yep.
I'll pause our timer. I think the fantasy football playoffs, their default is to playoffs weeks 14, 15, and 16, 17.
Yes.
Which I just realized is my league, and I'm not going to have anyone on the Niners or the Patriots or whatever. I just realized that, and that's immediately where my mind went, because, I'm a fantasy guy. But
yeah, the late bye could help. It also could hurt. It looks like it might help because it might be a good reset right before a playoff push for New England.
Yeah, I think with them, at this point, because Buffalo lost again, they're kind of just on cruise control. I mean, they can still get the 1 seed. I think if you can get the 1 seed, like, you get the bye, that would be huge, because then you only have to win 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. And like you said, they do have a real home field advantage against some of these other teams, But
not easy to go, because the weather in New England's always shaky. You get snow, rain, wind.
It is. What I would say about that, though, is like their team does like to air it out and go deep. So I don't really think they're a cold weather team like Buffalo, for example, where it's just like Josh Allen could just kind of.
Well, yeah, but
James Cook could run all over you.
You get to practice in it, so you get used to it, and Drake will know how to throw in that type of weather. So
they might be used to. I feel like there's a lot of these teams in the AFC, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Bills, and the Ravens are all fine in the cold. I think the only one that I would worry about are the Chargers, honestly. They're the
Chargers. Hey, there's another team sitting there at 7-4, by the way. Yeah, okay. I don't know how they play in the cold, but...
Oh, the Colts, you're right. The Colts from the AFC South, they would have trouble in the cold.
I was talking about, Jacksonville, who's 1 game back, thank you very much.
Oh, the team that went to overtime and won on a field goal against the Cardinals? Yeah, they're good.
Did anyone else need a 4-point win against the Cardinals, and they did that at home and didn't have to go on the road to do it without their 2 best receivers?
That was different. That was a fluke game.
Yeah, the Colts who lost.
But so when Trevor Lawrence stops throwing
hold up. Yeah, he played bad today, and they still won.
On the 1, and he throws like a pick. It's like, what are you doing?
That one got tipped.
Still.
Hey, but also... you're talking about the team in the AFC South. They both played Kansas City. Who won and who lost?
It's because Mahomes threw a pick in the red zone too. Also, the Chiefs lost today. They would have been freak. Well, we'll get to that in a second. You know what? Let's go to it now. Let's audible. Okay. 2 minutes start now. Colts, Chiefs. Colts blew that lead. They really had a chance to win. Here's what I'll say about this real quick. When the Colts play a really good team and the team tries to stop the run like the Chiefs did, they sold out to stop Jonathan Taylor. They did it pretty dang well, and the Colts did nothing. Daniel Jones played fine in the first half. He played pretty good, honestly. But in the second half, the spotlight got a little too big for Daniel Jones. He cannot do anything. And with Jonathan Taylor bottled up, it doesn't look the same. And I think this is partially why the MVP discussion always has a problem when it's not a quarterback of like, Jonathan Taylor, if a team just goes, all right, let's stop the run, they could stop you if they go all out to stop it. Whereas a quarterback... they can run or throw. They have more options, more ability to impact on every level. Whereas Jonathan Taylor is like, I'm running into 11 guys all trying to stop the run right now. It's not going to happen. So, Colts really in the second half gave this game away. They had a chance in overtime, but their defense was gassed. Kansas City looked terrible in the first half, I thought, but they kind of got it good enough in the second half. Rashee Rice had a big game.
Well, they moved the ball a lot in the first half. They just didn't score touchdowns. That was the problem. They had to settle for a bunch of field goals.
That's a problem.
They were down 20-9, but they found a way to win. The ball finally bounced their way a little bit. They've had some, but it's just like they're finding ways to lose these games. Yeah, I even thought in the fourth quarter when they didn't score down there and had to settle for the field goal to tie the game, I'm like, this is just how the season's been. They're going to end up losing this game in overtime, but they find a way. Rashee Rice was phenomenal today.
He was limping by the end, and he was so...
Yeah, he pulled his hamstring, but he was still... Yeah. He might be one of the best receivers I've seen in the NFL this year coming across the middle. Every time he comes across the middle, he's open. I don't know how, but like every time he's come across the middle, he's wide open. So they found a way to win. That's a big win. They were down on the mat. Looked like they were going to be eliminated from playoff contention, but they hung in there. They get the win, and the Colts drop a game back, only a game up on Jacksonville. They'll play twice, so of course that'll work itself out. But it also puts them a game behind New England and Denver, which is a big one that they have to look at now as well.
Yeah. Perfect, Adam. Great timing. And then, the Chiefs now 6-5. So if they were 5-6, be a little scary.
Well, only one game out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah. All right. A little worried about the Colts, but we'll see. Next one. Giants at Lions. Jameis Winston was doing it all. The Giants had 2 different trick plays. Jameis Winston caught a touchdown. And not only caught a touchdown, made a great catch, threw off a defender, and then ran to the end zone. So, phenomenal game by him. And the Giants got this lead, and once again, on the road, they get this big lead, and then they choke it away. Kind of impressive at how often they've done it, honestly. Jameis, I think, played great. I think he's showing that he should have been playing over Russell Wilson at the beginning of the year. That was ridiculous. I still think Jameis is better than Russ. In the beginning, I said that.
It's actually good they played with Russ, because then they got to play Jackson Dart quicker.
True. Maybe they knew that all along, because I think Jameis understands his role as a backup. Russ, I think, always wants to start. And Russ coming out for the coin flip was one of the funniest things of, he's not even starting. Why is he coming out to do the coin toss? It's so stupid.
He's the captain.
I know, but he's not. He's their third string quarterback.
But he's the captain.
He's their third string. It's ridiculous.
He's the captain.
It's so dumb.
Plus, you send out the guy who knows how to flip, who knows how to call it.
I know, but I get why you want to send Jameis out. Who knows what would happen? But
yeah,
still.
But
also in this game,
we want to kick and receive, baby. We want to.
But Jahmyr Gibbs in this game went bonkers. He should have had 3 super long touchdowns. One of the 3 he got stopped at the 2 or 3, then caught the next pass and got in. So basically 3 touchdowns all by him, the super long run. He was phenomenal. One of the greatest fantasy games. It's in that tier of Joe Mixon a few years ago with the 5 touchdowns, with Kamara's 6 touchdown game, with Jamar Chase last year when he had those 3 touchdowns and 260 yards. All-time performance from Gibbs. Amon-Ra looks good. And no Laporta, but, the Lions have a bunch of options. So I think they're fine with Gibbs and Amon-Ra. They could still do anything. Their defense is bad, but we'll see.
Found a way to win. That's the big thing for them. Gibbs almost had an identical game to what Jonathan Taylor had over in Germany when they played the Falcons. The stat lines are very, very similar, which is weird to look at. But they found a way to win. The Giants found a way to lose, which is starting to get a little head scratching. Just ask Malik Neighbors about that one.
They already fired their coach. I don't know what else they could do.
He's starting to think that they're maybe not trying to win. Is something Malik Neighbors.
I thought the Giants were playing fine, honestly. I thought they were trying to play to win.
There were a lot of questionable calls that Malik Neighbors had that he tweeted out, then deleted the tweet, because I think he realized that I probably shouldn't be accusing my organization of intentionally losing football games. So,
well, we'll see. And also about that Gibbs thing, I think his performance is better than Jonathan Taylor's, because Gibbs caught a ton of passes today. Every single time Goff didn't know what to do, it was going to Gibbs for a 2-yard catch. And also, his 3 touchdowns were crucial, long. Jonathan Taylor had the 1 long touchdown with a few short. Gibbs was oh, we need a score here, and there's 4 minutes left, and he goes all the way down. Then the Giants get stopped, and then the Lions get it, kick a long field goal. So really him getting these long touchdowns, super impactful. Let's move on to the next one, unless you have anything else to say.
Well, they got a huge game this week. They got to try to get revenge on the Packers on Thanksgiving, which is sometimes a tough thing for the Lions to do, to win on Thanksgiving.
True. And speaking of the Packers, Vikings at Packers. Packers win 23-6. J.J. McCarthy once again looks terrible. I don't know why I ever picked the Vikings. That's usually your job. And I know he's terrible. I just don't want to pick Green Bay without Josh Jacobs. Emmanuel Wilson, 107 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns though. They looked great. Vikings. J.J. McCarthy's really bad. Really bad.
Yep,
don't know what else to really say besides they don't have an offense right now with this quarterback.
Yeah, and he's probably, sadly, going to get his coach fired, because that's how it works in the NFL. So,
do you think they would fire Kevin O'Connell before they just moved off of J.J. McCarthy?
Well, Kevin O'Connell's the one that said they should draft J.J. McCarthy and said it was okay to get rid of Sam Darnold because they had this kid sitting here ready to play. So
I think he wanted to keep Darnold, but those guys didn't want to stay there knowing that they'd be behind J.J.
If Kevin O'Connell wanted to keep Sam Darnold as the starter and said J.J.'s not our guy, he could have said that.
But then the team would be like, hey, Kevin, you just had us draft this kid 6th.
That's the other thing. He drafted him 10th, by the way, the 10th overall pick.
10th, sorry. I think I had the Daniel Jones pick from years ago.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, I don't know. 6th. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's a tough look. I mean, you're going to give JJ at least another year because he's a rookie. He's technically a rookie, so you're not going to move on.
I think that's true, but also at the same time, he's in an incredible situation with a great coach, great receivers, and they have a great defense, and he's not winning. So they're a win-now team with a basically rookie quarterback who's bad. So you don't really have that luxury of waiting and waiting, because by the time he's good, if he ever gets good, that team might not be there anymore.
I know, but it's a tough situation because it's hard to move off guys because what are you going to get for him? You drafted him 10th overall. You're not going to get that same compensation right now.
Draft another quarterback who might be better right now.
Well, they won't draft another quarterback. That would make no sense because then it'd be the same risk. You go sign somebody or trade for somebody.
But J.J. McCarthy was clearly a problem. In college, no one was like, oh, he's going to be a star in the NFL. It was like, he's a winner, but he hasn't been asked to do much.
There's one coach who says he's better than Justin Herbert. So,
who's that?
No, the guy coaching Justin Herbert right now said J.J. McCarthy was better than Justin Herbert.
Oh, that doesn't count. He has to say that as his college coach.
Well, he was already the coach of the Chargers when he said it.
I know, but he has to support his guy that he spent like 3 or 4 years with. You don't have to throw your guy
under the bus, though.
Well, you know what? That's different. But
all
right,
we'll see.
Next one, we'll see if J.J. McCarthy stays in Minnesota. I don't think that's going to work out. But next one, Seattle at Tennessee. We don't need to spend a full 2 minutes on this, but surprisingly close game of Seattle 30, Tennessee 24, but Seattle was in control basically this whole game. After the start, you got the lead. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 167 receiving yards, had some touchdowns, and once again looking like the best receiver in the NFL. And the Titans looked actually decent. Came Ward, 256 yards, but most of those are trailing by like 2 touchdowns.
Yep, no, same game Titans play every week. They hang in there and then they lose close, which is good because that gives you some positives to go into next year, but they're kind of playing the same game every week. Jackson Smith and Jig was phenomenal. I tried to tell you this after week 2. I said, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be great.
I wasn't refuting. I wasn't saying
you didn't have him in your top 5. You didn't have him up there. I was ready.
I wanted to see it for more than 2 weeks, and guess what?
Was ready.
You're definitely right.
He still has one of the best college games I've ever seen. Now he's showing it in the pros now that he's fully healthy. He had some injuries at the end of his college career and then got off to a slow start, kind of trying to get back from them. But no, he's been phenomenal. He's in year 3. He's only going to continue to get better. Sam Darnold keeps playing well, and that Seattle team, they're chasing the Rams after that tough loss last week. But it's a really good division, and they're going to be right up there in that NFC wildcard race, which does look kind of open outside of the NFC North. Probably going to beat each other up, so the Seahawks are in a good spot.
You know, I think it's interesting, too, with I think once they figure out their run game, they'd be great, but, like, Kenneth Walker's their leader with 71 yards, which, you know, is okay, but, like,
well, when you throw for how many yards they throw for, 71 you'll take on the ground.
Yeah, but they're really meant, I feel like they always wanted to be a run team, and then they just can't figure that out, whatever. I think there's a weird thing if they stop Darnold's passing, they're done. But his passing's been great against every single team except the Rams last week, basically.
Yeah, it's a big bounce back game. He needed that after that Rams game.
True. I mean, the score looks close, but they needed a good game. We talked about Colts Chiefs already. Next one, let me restart our timer, Adam. Next one, Jets at Baltimore Ravens. Adam, it was kind of close at first, but the Ravens quickly were like, actually not quickly, after the first half, they were like, Lamar, what are we doing? You got to throw for more than, 70 yards in the first half? Mm-hmm. It was terrible. And then he comes out in the second half, and 2 just terrible plays. They get a pass interference call on Mark Andrews, or for Mark Andrews, good thing for them. Go down the field, Derrick Henry scores, go down, Derrick Henry scores, and then it's like, all right, they just win. It's fine. It's fine. They squeezed out the win.
Game. They played the same game they played the last 2 weeks. They did the same thing against the Browns last week. They almost the exact same cut and copy, like the exact same game. It was like they got away from it a little quicker because Tyrod Taylor and the Jets offense couldn't get anything going. Hey, Ravens defense keeps playing well, because, I mean, they keep finding ways. That's good for them, but it's just they're finding ways to win these games, and that's the important thing because the Steelers lose, they win. Doesn't matter how it happens. You're back in the division race. You're only, I think, a game back. They might actually be ahead of them now. I forget what the exact record breakdown is.
I think the main concerning point is, like, you're playing the Jets, and you kind of want Lamar to look, but I think just Lamar's not right health-wise. I think he's dealing with something, not quite sure what, but he kind of has had a few nagging injuries this year that kind of keep coming up, missing practice, so I'm assuming that's the problem, and I hope he's fine by the playoffs, that they can make the playoffs.
I'm not worried about him. I mean, y'all don't need to see him statistically go off for me to say,
no, but he didn't look right during the game. No. For some reason, we had the multi-view today. So instead of the red zone, we did multi-view. And that was one of the games I was on. Every time Lamar was in the field, I'm watching. It didn't look like normal Lamar. He's not running the same. I think he's just dinged up. I'm hoping it gets better. Also, Adam, we did a short about between the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens who would fall off. In that clip, you said the Ravens defense is old, and people were freaking out like, they're not old, they're young. Okay, I think what we were saying was some of their
They have Nate
stars on
Wiggins.
defense,
Nate Wiggins is
their,
really good. Kyle
their
Hamilton's good. The
stars
secondary's
on
young.
defense are old.
Yeah, the
The-
secondary's young.
but most of the defense is young, but they're not good. All the
No.
good players are old.
Well,
Sorry,
that's not true.
let Adam live.
That's not true. Their two best players are young. Nate
Who?
Wiggins and Kyle Hamilton are their two best defenders. Easily.
But like Roquan Smith.
Well, but they're not. Nate Wiggins and Kyle Hamilton are their two best.
Okay,
Kyle
but
Hamilton's
like you
the
know
best
what I
safety
mean.
in
Like
football, so.
they're a younger defense, but like calm down, people.
Well, yeah,
you know what I
but
mean?
also I said Buffalo, so I don't know why I'm getting yelled at for this. I don't know
What
why.
was the one line?
I
Kyle
know, 'cause
Hamilton,
I said,
right? Kyle
I said
Hamilton's
defense is
24.
age. Yeah.
I
Kyle
feel like their
Hamilton's really
defensive
young.
line used to be old. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
But-
they're not. They're not a. I would call them a young and up and coming defense. They have some really good secondary players.
I think they're a young defense with some older people.
Yeah.
So sorry that we said old without clarifying in the short, but let Adam live. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
defend
don't
my
care.
guy.
Also, but another thing with Lamar struggling a little bit, it could have also been a don't run. You don't have to do it this week. We should be able to win without you having to do too much. Like, take it easy. Keep yourself healthy. Like, don't reason to risk anything. We'll be back at it next week when we need you a little bit more. You play Cincinnati on Thursday night, so.
I
Might
think at
need some more
halftime
points in
they
that
were like,
game.
Lamar, you better do something because this
Well,
is
yeah.
unacceptable.
Well, yeah, just win the game. That's all it's just win the game. We don't need style points. We don't need to win by 30. Just win the game. They get Cincinnati
I
at home
agree,
next
but
week,
I don't
so.
know if he's. I'm just saying he didn't look 100% because he missed practice this
Yeah.
week, so we'll monitor.
We'll see
All
how
right,
he looks.
restarting
National
the timer.
televised game. Everyone's watching. We'll see how he looks on Thursday.
True. Next one. Now we get to the 4 o'clock games. This one was terrible. Don't know how it was even televised. Browns at Raiders.
Whoa. This was probably one of the more higher rated 405 games of the season. Thank you very much.
The game
A lot of
itself
people
was
watched
not that good.
No.
However, Shedeur Sanders made his debut. Adam got his upset pick right. And to be fair, Adam, to you, I said, I think the Raiders' offense is terrible, and I think the
Yep.
Browns' defense is amazing. I could easily see you picking them. I was surprised that you picked them because you're not usually a Shedeur guy. But
Well, not according to everyone that listened to the everyone that listened to the short you posted. They can't sense sarcasm when I said he was going to be the greatest quarterback of all
I
time.
posted it, and I was gonna put like in parentheses obvious sarcasm when you said he might be the greatest of all time because like you never know.
Because they made a big
but-
thing when he put on 12 and they did like a him and Brady both wearing 12 thing. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put this out here, see if people can sense the sarcasm. If not, it's
I
Adam.
don't care. It doesn't matter.
I was like,
don't
you
care.
do better with it than me.
I don't care.
But you know what, Adam? He validated you. He scored a touchdown, a long touchdown.
Well.
It was a little pass to Dylan Sampson
He
that he
threw
kind
it
of
2
broke out
yards.
for.
Threw it negative
Adam.
3 yards.
Think about Brady in his first year.
Yeah.
Okay, they're on the
Welker
same
and
track.
Edelman really helped him out.
They're on the same track, but no. And he's so good that the team decides they don't even need him. So to score touchdowns, they take him out of the game, put Christian Junkins in,
Yeah.
and do Wildcat. They actually did that against the Dolphins in that bad weather game, and it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of worked again today. It worked pretty well. So
Yeah.
Judkins, 2 touchdowns. Genty scored again, but once again, the Raiders are terrible. Their offensive line, I think, is the worst offensive line I've seen. Shout out that page on Instagram. I keep forgetting the account name, but they show the worst plays from the Raiders offensive line each week. Geno Smith was getting destroyed, and Myles Garrett is on track to beat the sack record.
Yeah.
So, do you know what's the record right now?
23 and a half, I think. It's TJ Watt, I think, tied it with Michael Strahan, but I think Strahan also still up there. I don't think TJ broke it when he had all the sacks.
No,
but I
yeah,
think
right
they're
now it's
tied.
Michael Strahan, because after the game,
Yeah.
Michael Strahan said, sack record, bye-bye, Myles Garrett's going to take it from me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I think TJ tied him. But that
Yeah.
was it. Yeah,
So, Myles Garrett looks great, but, once again, the Raiders' offensive line is terrible.
No,
Absolutely just a disgrace
Yeah.
to football.
Yeah, no, and you saw that coming with that pass rush that the Browns have. You kind of could feel that coming. But going back to the Shedeur thing, he didn't do anything spectacular today. I mean, if we're being honest, stat line looked good. You get a 66-yard touchdown on a swing pass, it's going to make it look a lot better than it is. But no, I thought for the most part, he did what you need to do as a Browns quarterback. Don't lose the game. The defense is going to give you opportunities. Just take advantage when you get them, and you're going to find a way to win it. And they did that. They had a big special teams play that set them up in the red zone. They capitalized on that and got a touchdown. Had a touchdown earlier in the game on good field position. So, they did everything they needed to do. He managed the game really well. I know he's all fired up. I know in the post game he went back to old Shedeur when he said, give me a full offseason and see how this thing takes off. But, he's the first rookie quarterback to win his first start for the Cleveland Browns. So, congratulations to him for that. Since 1995, I think is the last last time. So since the expansion Browns started, they were 0-17. So congrats to him on getting the win, and we'll see. I mean, I would keep him as the starter for now, but I don't think he's learned. I think right now you're still thinking, now probably need to maybe look somewhere else if Deshaun Watson's not coming back. Look at the draft to potentially get a new guy. And I don't think Shedeur, right now from what I've seen, he might improve it in the end of this season, but right now I haven't seen anything to say he's the future of the Cleveland Browns.
I think what's a little interesting is that his best play, honestly, was the pass to Jerry Jeudy, where he actually scrambled out. Threw a bomb.
Jeudy fumbled.
Jeudy catches it, and then he does this weird stutter step, trying to fool the guy, trying to read the defender in front of him.
Yeah.
Didn't realize there's a defender behind him who comes up and strips the ball out.
His best play was the pass to Isaiah Bond. That Bond went down at the 1. That would have been nice for his first touchdown, because that would have been a heck of a highlight.
Yeah, so it's really funny because I would say his best 2 plays, because even though it went to Jeudy, he was able to scramble out and create time and then find the guy. So his best plays didn't really result in much besides a guy going out the 1, which led to a rushing touchdown, and then the fumble by Jeudy. So I feel like some of his game kind of is going to go, people won't remember, but I also think, like you said, he was just trying not to lose the game, and the stats are decent. But
did everything he needed to do today. So I'm happy for Shedeur. I really am. I've been hard on the guy, but, for him to get his first win, I am happy for what he was able to do.
Let's move to the next one, because I forgot to start the timer, so we definitely went over 2 minutes there.
Shedeur's always going to do that to me. He's always going to do that. Dion was there today. Congrats. Couldn't get a college win, but congrats for showing up to your son's game. All
right, Adam, your team, Jacksonville Jaguars, beat the Arizona Cardinals in overtime 27-24. I mean, Travis Etienne looked pretty good. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think did, threw a few interceptions in crucial moments, but that's always what happens. Trevor Lawrence in the red zone, I feel like is just as likely to throw it to the other team as he is his own. I think that's a little bit of a problem.
He threw 1. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 pick in the red zone.
It happens all year. It happens all year. Not my favorite quarterback, but anyways, they won. What were your thoughts?
I mean, if you're going to win a game when you're -4 in turnover differential, that's a heck of a win. Do it the hard way, but they found a way to get the win today. They didn't really have much right. They got no turnovers. They turned it over 4 times, as you mentioned. Trevor had the pick 6. I think they wrote it as a fumble that got him on the board. But no, they found a way to win this game, which is huge, especially with the Colts loss. Now you're, with that win, you're now a game back in the division, so it's a really important win. You needed to have it, and they find a way to get it done. Hopefully Brian Thomas Jr. can come back, because once he comes back, you actually have true depth at that receiver position. Parker Washington's playing phenomenal, special teams and on offense. You have Jacoby Myers, who's starting to settle in a little bit, had his first touchdown today, and then if you get Brian Thomas Jr. back, you have a real 3 receivers that you can really trust. Brent Strange came back and had a really good game today at tight end. So there's definitely some things to like. Got to find a way to get the job done. They get the Titans next week, which is a big tune-up game. Got to find a way to win that one. Obviously, division game in Nashville is not going to be easy by any means, but especially with the way they play, they seem to play up to their competition and down to their competition, it feels like, with Jacksonville. So got to get that job done, and then maybe they'll be able to find a way in that Colts game in Jacksonville as the Colts look to extend a long losing streak in Duval County. But they definitely didn't play well today. But, to get a win when you play that bad, I think is a good sign for things, to be able to improve on.
Yeah, and real quick, Rams leading 31-7 at halftime.
Yeah,
so looks like that one might be a blowout, Adam. But
it's not looking good.
I think the Jaguars overall look fine, but each game might be more worrisome than the actual season. Yeah. And also just about the Cardinals, I don't know how they keep losing these games. Like you said, the Cardinals are +4 in the turnover differential. That usually is a win 95% of the time, I feel like. Trey McBride is racking up catches and yards. Jacoby Brissett looks good. I mean,
Michael Wilson's playing phenomenal, by the way.
Michael Wilson is playing phenomenal. Thank you. And Marvin Harrison out. Michael Wilson's like, all right, I'll be that guy that you guys, wanted to step up, be that number 1 guy.
George played well today, too. He played really well.
I just don't know they keep losing these games. They have some playmakers on defense. I don't get it. I feel like at the end, you look at their stats, everything, it's like, how did this turn into a loss? I don't get it. But probably...
They can't run the ball. I think that's the biggest. They can't run the ball. So they can't maintain clock. They can't control the game. It's tough for them because you can't run it.
I'd also say, they're, who's their coach? Gannon, right?
Jonathan Gannon, yeah. I actually like Jonathan Gannon. I think he's solid coach.
On paper, defensive coach, but I feel like each week they're just losing by a field goal. And it's kind of like, I don't know if it's even him or just a situation, but...
Well, hey, if he's a defensive coach, his defense forced 4 turnovers today, so they did their job.
That's a good point. I just don't know how they allowed 27 points.
Yeah, it's just there were some hitting yards in there. They had some special teams play, some penalties, but No, it was a weird game. It was just a weird game that ended up having a really fun ending in overtime. So
Well, we'll see next week. I like the Cardinals. I think they're actually just going to get a good pick here, but we'll see. Next game, Adam. This is my Super Bowl. Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles choke away a 21-0 lead. This team that has the great running back and was supposed to be a great offensive line, and this Super Bowl MVP quarterback can't hold on to a 21-0 lead. A.J. Brown finally gets going and doesn't even matter. They looked good, and then the second half happens, and Saquon, who is maybe one of the best running backs when it comes to ball security, he fumbles in a crucial spot. Then, though, the Cowboys then fumbled, and then later the Eagles are receiving the punt. Stupid decision to try to catch it on the one, and then he fumbles it, and the Cowboys were kind of gifted this win. Eagles missed a field goal, but so did the Cowboys at one point, so that kind of cancels out there. But I mean, the Cowboys, I think, are actually. I'm excited for the Cowboys next season. You know, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but next season, if the Cowboys are good, I'd actually be interested. They're a really fun offense, kind of like we call them the discount brand Bengals this year. They're actually better than the Bengals this year. George Pickens, 146 receiving yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb has a drop problem, but he's still CeeDee Lamb, and they're fun to watch. And the Eagles, I mean, they're what? They're 8-3. They'll be fine, you know. But
they're gonna win that division. They're still
for
way
this
out
game. It was nice to see the random, usual like nonsense that goes on where they squeak out a win doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it was a really, really weird game. You mentioned Saquon fumbled, and then the defense got a stop, and then they fumbled a punt, and the Cowboys turned it over at the 1 yard line on turnover on downs because they couldn't score. It's like,
Right.
what are we doing?
Right.
It's like the Eagles tried to hand it to them. The Cowboys said, "Here's it back." Like it was a weird game. It's 21-0 lead.
I don't want to win. No, I don't want to win. They just kept giving each other the ball.
Biggest blown lead in Philadelphia since 1999. That's Andy Reid's first year as the head coach. Yeah, Nick Sirianni's got to find a way to get they had a bunch of penalties. They had 14 penalties today. That was a huge mistake. You can't do that against Dallas if you're in Philadelphia. So Sirianni. One nice thing is the quick week at home on Black Friday against the Bears. They're going to get right back out there, so we'll see if they bounce back. But Sirianni's got to, I think, definitely take reins on the offense. I think the defense is going to be fine, but take reins on the offense, try to figure some things out because it's a scary situation they're going for. You don't want this to be like 2 years ago when they completely collapsed at the end of the year. So,
yeah, I think, whenever they kind of start off slow, then they kind of pick up at the end. It's like great, but whenever they start off early, they kind of run out of speed.
Yeah.
It's weird. Whenever they get A.J. Brown involved, they lose. That's a little weird.
Mm-hmm. And you know what the sad part about it is, and I don't want to speak for the guy, but I think A.J. Brown prefers that.
I would too if you're just looking at your stats of like,
well, you shouldn't be looking at your stats.
One
you
catch,
should be trying
6
to win
yards.
games.
I did nothing to contribute, but I know I'm great. That would be frustrating every single day.
Just take your
Every
Super Bowl
game.
ring and all your money, buddy. That's
Listen,
what I would
once you
tell
already
him.
won the ring and you're not going to be the GOAT anyways, I would want to actually feel like I'm a good player contributing. I would be upset if I had one catch for 6 yards every day and I'm A.J. Brown.
Yeah, but he's not helping him this week. That's for sure.
I think he wasn't the problem. I'd make a list of.
No, he's not the problem.
People,
but
so.
no, it's just there's a lot of things going on, and I don't think his added drama every week is helping the Eagles get over this.
I don't blame him that much because it
I
is.
blame him. If you're going to cause added drama when the owner met with you and asked you to stop it, and then you immediately go and be like, "Well, Saquon sucks too." Like what? Like it's like what? Like you can't say that about your teammate. Like
I didn't see that one. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Adam.
he said he's like, well, I guess Saquon's playing really, really bad too, isn't he? Like he said that in a press conference. It's like unprompted. It wasn't like a prompted question. Like, what do you got to say about your struggles? He's like, well, Saquon's playing bad too. I'm like, what? They just keep shooting themselves in their foot on the field and off the field. They can't figure it out.
I think Justin Jefferson might be like one of the few great receivers who isn't all into the drama and stuff. And to be fair, he hasn't really been tested that much because he's been with good QB so far, but
I don't
JJ
think
McCarthy might push him to the limits.
I don't think Devontae was ever into the drama.
No, Devontae's been pretty good.
Yeah, like even with Aaron, like when you're with Aaron Rodgers, there could be a lot of it, and he was always.
I think there was no room for Devontae to be dramatic when you have Aaron Rodgers.
But even when he was in Vegas with Derek Carr, and then they got rid of Derek Carr, he wasn't too much of overreacting
with Jimmy G, he was saying this guy's throwing me hospital balls, and now they're teammates in Los Angeles.
But that was a schematic problem. No, but there's been guys, but yeah, it's weird that he really gets into it. Devontae gets to be quiet because I think Devontae Smith kind of also has a little bit of a Yeah, he can get a little fired up too, but he stays really quiet because I think the receiver room can only take so much right now. So yeah, no, it's a weird
We'll
spot.
see.
Philly's got to find a way to bounce back. They're gonna be fine. Like their record's gonna be fine. They're gonna find a way to win a lot of these games at the end of the year. But they always split with Dallas, so I mean it's tough the way it happened, but it's usually how it works with the Eagles. So
Yeah. All right. Next one. Let me start the timer. Sorry.
you need
Next
a timer
one.
for this one. You
Yes,
really
yes.
need a timer for this
Last one. Last one. Falcons at the Saints.
Yeah.
Falcons 24, Saints 10. I think the Saints were favored by the time the game started, which was ridiculous.
Well, it's
There
Kirk
was no
Cousins.
way.
Well,
Huh?
it's Kirk Cousins.
Listen, Kirk Cousins still. I mean, Tyler Shuck honestly doesn't even look bad. And the
No.
offense looks decent at times, but they just never score. It's kind of amazing. Their kicker, Groupie, is just honestly bad. Missed two
Yeah.
field goals today that just did plenty of distance on. It's just so left or right. Bijan actually didn't destroy the Saints today. It was one of them was just, I believe, a defensive touchdown. Oh, no, the Saints scored the defensive touchdown. But I'm watching these games and Kirk Cousins is throwing just random guys. There's no Drake London. So it's really just, what was the one guy's name? Sills was one of them.
Yeah, I
Darnell
remember
Mooney
Davis
caught
Sills.
one.
Hell of a
Yeah.
college player.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, but like I'm just watching like this random Falcons team is being the Saints, and it's 24-10, which is terrible for the score. But I like what I'm seeing out of the Saints. It's just sometimes they just all the winning plays they don't make. But
But here's the thing. You have your coach, but it's really hard to rehaul your roster, and I don't think your front office has done a great job since Drew Brees retired of getting talent into New Orleans, so it's kind of a scary part there. But you're going to, have a new quarterback next year probably. I don't think Tyler Shuck's the answer, but like I said, the big key, though, is Kellen Moore's an offensive coach, and usually they are moving the ball for the most part. They're just not finding a way to score points, so I think that changes when you have more playmakers out there. Kamara got hurt today, but
Kamara's washed, to be
Yeah,
honest
no,
with
he
you.
is, he is, but-
I'm not gonna say Kamara's gonna
Yeah.
make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Olave looks great.
yeah,
Besides
no, that's
him,
big.
just chuck everyone else.
Get yourself Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or Ty Simpson and, see what happens.
I don't think they do this, but if they're like, well, we have to give Shuck a chance, and they don't draft a quarterback, I'd go insane.
They can't. Third round pick, you don't say we have to give him a chance. Yeah, like first round pick, okay.
Was he a second rounder?
Even second round pick, you don't have to say you have to give him a chance. Day one, you have to. To get to second round, third round picks, you don't have to. If you should, Kellen Moore knows. And it could also be they have to fall in love with the guy. I mean, if they don't love a guy in the draft, maybe they wait. But like if they go through the draft process,
He was the 40th overall pick, Adam.
yeah, but still,
40th overall.
You go through the draft process and you're like, I don't love the guys. Yeah, keep them. But if you fall in love with Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or something like that, you're not saying we're good. We got Tyler Shuck out here, man. It's like when Colin Cowherd
see.
said, "We got Ben Simmons. We're all right. You don't got to come, LeBron. We got Ben Simmons."
Yeah, it did not age well, but
No.
well, we could skip. We could, we don't need to take the full 2 minutes there. Now, pain of the week, Adam. We did the recap.
Whoa. I do want to. It's halftime. We can talk about the game a little bit.
Adam, they might come back.
Well, I'm just saying, if through one half of football, I'm not going to say that the Rams have won the game, but through one half of football, should we just send the award to Matthew Stafford's house now? Or
Yeah,
do we have
he's
to
locking
wait?
up MVP right now.
He's unbelievable right now, man. He's special. For a guy who everyone was worried about coming into the season because he decided to sit out training camp in the preseason, like, he's playing really well. He came out of the gates.
Well, Adam, he had a back injury, and every single week leading up to the week one, he was walking. Was his update,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that doesn't sound good.
You know what this was? You know what the back injury was?
He's old, and he just didn't feel like playing all
I
preseason.
don't want to go to the preseason.
Yeah.
I just want to. I don't want to work out.
It's annoying when you're like trying to like get a grasp for each team. You're like, oh well, if Stafford's already having a back issue, that kind of scares me. And then he's like, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, and they're great. Devontae's been phenomenal for them this year. He's got 12 touchdowns through 11 games. Like, he's been great, especially around the goal line. Nakua's obviously sensational. Kyron Williams is still a good running back. He's not a great running back, but he's a good running back for that team with all the weapons they have. Cody Parkinson's good. Like, they're loaded offensively, and their defense is playing really, really well. Sean McVay's, of course, a phenomenal coach. No one's got doubt. And I think by a wide margin right now, they're the most dangerous and consistent team in the NFC.
I think the Rams, since they've done this whole different formation thing with a 13-man personnel and the extra tight ends, whatever, The Rams right now just look like this unstoppable machine, and when they are in the red zone, instead of the tush push, they just throw it up to Devontae and it's like back shoulder fade, and it works every single time. Puka Nacua gets all the yards in between, and then Devontae in the end zone is just always wide open. They're not even running the ball that well. I feel like Kyron Williams has been okay, but their defense is good. Maybe not top tier like Houston, but they still have a good enough defense, and they just maybe have the best passing offense. The only hope for the rest of the league right now is Puka gets hurt about half the games he's in. He ends up having to go to the locker room, and Stafford is old. Maybe by the end of the year he gets tired over the season or gets hurt. I honestly think right now the way they're playing, their offense is a buzzsaw that no one could touch.
Well, I won't say that. I mean, they scored 21 points last week. Then
the Seahawks are a top-tier defense, though.
I know, but they were a 60-yard field goal away from losing that game. So they can lose games. Like, they're not by far
I know,
away.
but I think they look like the head and shoulders favorite right now.
Absolutely.
No?
They're definitely the favorites, but it's like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. If you're
looking up at that team and you're like, what's the roadmap to beat them? I think it's, okay, well, maybe Puka randomly does a diving catch and lands on his head, and then he has to go to the locker room for a quarter. That lets you try to slow them down. That's the only way.
Well, they've lost 2 games this year, so they're not unbeatable.
One of them was a stupid Eagles game, and then the other one was, you're going to have bad weeks. You play one game a week. You're going to have a random bad game or two.
Well, do you remember the game that second loss?
That Niners loss was terrible.
Mac Jones and none of the Niners played. No, it's just they're by far the best team right now. But I won't say like they're not unbeatable because you get in the playoffs, games are going to be close, anything can happen. They're not far and away. But right now, I think if you're trying to pick a team consistency wise, it's going to be there. The one fear is, which I think they need, is home field because they play at SoFi, which is a nice stadium. And then it's like indoor, they control the elements. Like they don't want to go on the road and play in Philadelphia in the snow again. Like that's not something they want to do. But the only downside of it is when you play some of these bigger name teams, you're basically going to be playing a road game in your home stadium a lot of the times. So
we'll see. And also, I think, are you afraid of Houston at all of making a wildcard spot?
Yes.
I think we're seeing, like, a few years ago, we had this like offensive boom, and it was like, wow, offenses are really just like going all out, scoring a ton of points, and then we're seeing the defenses start to kind of come back in and stop things. And I feel like these teams that could just have like a really good defense, like Houston, like they just win a game just by defense. Where we kind of mentioned it on the podcast, but the Bills were still in the game. But Houston did beat the Bills, and now they're 500, and that's with Davis Mills.
Yeah, no, they're over 500. They're 6-5. Like they're in a really good. They're only a game out of the playoffs right now, and with that defense, they get the. I don't know. I think they played the Titans twice already, so they don't get the Titans again. They'll get the Colts twice here. I wouldn't be surprised if they steal one of them. Like that wouldn't shock me with the way their defense plays. Like now with that defense, because that defense statistically is historically great, and then C.J. Stroud's coming back. If he's healthy and the offense can just do enough, if that offensive line can do enough, they'll find a way to win. It was a tough blow when they found out Joe Mixon's officially out, but Woody Marks has been good for them. So they're going to be okay. So, but I'm definitely scared. That's a team that's sitting there right now that no one's talking about. That's like, they're a game out, and they might have the best unit of any of these teams vying for a wild card spot. Yeah,
I think they clearly have the best defense consistently because they have the defensive line and they have that secondary. It's like,
I got to watch because I did say the Eagles might have the best defense in the NFL last week. So I
still take the Texans.
But I think the Broncos are up there too. I think those are 3 probably of the top tier, and the Browns are definitely up there. But it's different.
Right now, the Broncos don't have Surtain, and I think there's games where like each team has kind of gone to a shootout. But I feel like the Texans maybe it's because the other team doesn't need to go to a shootout because the Texans never scored that many points. I'll check their schedule because I could just be wrong. But
they played the Jags game, which was high scoring, but that was because of some special team stuff. So that was a little different.
It's not the defense long.
That was 36-29.
They gave up 14, 20, 17, 0, 10. 27 to Seattle was bad. Give you that. 15, 18, 29 was a Jags game. And then 13 last week, 19 this week. So for the most part, they're keeping teams like...
No. And plus, giving up 27 to that Seattle offense isn't...
Yeah, that's the only team they've allowed more than 20 points to.
Yeah. Well, Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. But their defense is phenomenal, and they're sitting there.
But yeah, they won the Jacksonville game, and if they don't allow the special team, like the kick return or whatever.
Yeah, if they come back from 19 down in the fourth quarter. No,
they're
definitely there.
Davis Mills starts the game with a pick six. That's not the defense.
Yeah, no, you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot if you're Houston. I think you have to be quietly optimistic, but I mean, you also got to figure out a way because they're one of those teams that I think could get into the playoffs. Once you get in, like the offense is going to have to take that next step because you're going to be playing some of these elite offenses that will score points, even though your defense is historically great. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun. I think we have a fun wild card race coming down in both sides. Because I think you look at the NFC West and the NFC North on the NFC side, like they have a bunch of teams vying for wild card spots. And then you look at the AFC West, of course, has all those teams. The Bills are vying for a spot. The Jags are in it. The Texans are in it. Like there's a bunch of teams that are really fighting for these wild card spots. That include like Pittsburgh's going to be fighting. If Joe Burrow comes back and the Bengals rattle off a win streak here, like there's a lot of teams and. I'm not going to say it, but if you look at the Dolphins' schedule, I know they're 4-7.
I heard this
just
today.
Gonna accidentally find.
I'm not going to hear it. I'm not hearing it.
I don't think it'll happen, but with their schedule, they could accidentally end up at 9-8, and I don't know where I don't think 9-8 will get them in, but they could accidentally, which would be the worst case scenario for the Dolphins is to get in a 9-8, miss the playoffs, and just move to the 15th pick. A great spot for Miami, but.
Well. We'll see. Now on to our pain of the week. Adam, you go first because you have a team. I don't think this is a team in the NFL, so it must be college.
Nope, college football fan. Florida State. Florida State fans in particular are my pain of the week. So Florida State, Chris, 2 years ago, take you back, in the last ever 4-team playoff, Florida State went 13-0. And missed the college football playoff because their quarterback got hurt and their backup quarterback got hurt.
I do remember that. I was watching back then.
Yes, and Alabama got in over them, and it was a huge controversy, and it was a tough loss for Mike Norvell and that Florida State team. And then they went on to lose 63-3 in the bowl game. Now, that doesn't say everything. A lot of the guys opted out, so a lot of the guys didn't play. Like Jared Verse, who's on playing in the Rams game right now, he didn't play in that game.
They were annoyed they didn't get into the playoffs, and their guys were like, this doesn't matter, let's sit out.
Everyone bowed out. Mike Norvell was interviewing for the Alabama job after Nick Saban got fired. He was almost got the job before they hired Kalen DeBoer. And then the next year, they completely fall apart. Florida State's had no high school recruiting under Mike Norvell. It's been weird. They went 2-10 last year. They're 5-6 this year, coming off a 21-11 loss to NC State. And they announced today that Florida State will be retaining Mike Norvell and he will be keeping his job. This is a team that has went 7-16 over the last 2 seasons. Mike Norvell, as I said, has had no semblance of a high school recruiting class that's been worth anything and having developing players through that way. It's been all portal, 1-year rental guys, and it hasn't worked out these last 2 years, and they're going to try it one more time. And I just feel bad for Florida State fans, not that they're keeping Mike Norvell, but the fact that, Florida's going to be getting a new coach, LSU's getting a new coach, Penn State's getting a new coach, Virginia Tech just hired James Franklin. All these guys are getting new coaches and new shiny toys, and you're sitting there we've won 7-16 the last 2 years, and we're stuck with this guy for one more, baby. So feel bad for all those Florida State fans. I'm a big fan of the tomahawk chop. I'm a big fan of, Chief Osceola coming out in the horse. It's a great tradition down there at Florida State. Great place to watch. Bobby Bowden was phenomenal, but yeah, it's definitely a tough place to be if you're a Florida State fan right now.
Well, my friend, his name is Orlando. He's a huge fan. He goes to all the games. He's doing stuff with the team. So, I think he might like the coach. I'm not really sure.
Mike Norvell, I think, is a great guy. Just hasn't worked out these last 2 years.
In terms of the Florida State having a tough season, I feel for you.
Great,
brother.
Great home atmosphere. I quietly pull for Florida State. I like watching them play.
Jameis Winston's really good.
Jameis Winston is really. Jalen Ramsey went to Florida State. Deion Sanders went to Florida State. There have been a lot of players that went to Florida State.
Well, my pain of the week is I want to say me because I got some really bad beats in our picks. Colts could have easily won. That does not go my way. Cardinals were about to win. That was my upset pick, and the pick does not work. And fantasy football in 2 leagues, in one league I was gonna win, assuming Stafford did not go crazy, and he has 4 touchdowns, and then in the first half, and then this other situation. No one cares about my fantasy teams, but I had a really rough day. All these game picks that I did, only going 500. We're not picking against the spread. We're just picking who's gonna win.
Well, you're going to be over 500 here, barring a great comeback by Tampa. You will get to 7-6.
Did you pick Tampa?
No, we both picked LA.
Well, anyways, I'm gonna. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go with the Eagles because they lost in that terrible game. But kind of happy about it.
For Oh, the Eagles as your pain of the week. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to stick with you because I was going to be like, I'm upset you didn't say the Vikings as your. They were right there, man. They were right
Listen,
there.
Adam, I only picked them to be different from you because they have to start taking some swings here. And for some reason,
Yeah.
I picked the team that you usually like, that I usually gain on you on.
Hey,
And
you're the Kevin O'Connell guy. I
you're
like
the
JJ
JJ
McCarthy.
McCarthy guy. I
Well,
was
because
out
he's
on
a
the Vikings
beautiful.
this year because of JJ.
I texted and said, "Man, JJ's playing bad." I was like, "Man, yeah, I probably shouldn't have hitched my wagon to a guy that really didn't do much in college, but he is a beautiful human being. Like JJ McCarthy is a
Who,
beautiful
JJ
human
McCarthy
being.
or 9?
JJ McCarthy.
They're two different
I
humans.
I know. I'm not talking about 9. I'm talking about JJ
Oh,
McCarthy.
okay.
The
Okay.
Michigan quarterback was JJ McCarthy. This Minnesota Vikings guy's 9. My
How
JJ
long until 9 dies and JJ McCarthy starts playing quarterback instead? Because
Well, if JJ
that
McCarthy
might
starts
help.
playing quarterback, JJ McCarthy's never lost a regular season football game.
That's what I mean. We need JJ McCarthy. We don't need 9. Get rid of
Yeah,
9.
I know. Yeah, just all these weird nicknames they give people now. But that can lead me right into my panic of the week, and it is the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe you got the J.J. McCarthy pick wrong. Not looking good now. Of course, you don't overreact after one season. I think we've seen a lot of these guys resurrect their careers as seasons went on. Usually happens in other places, but you don't want to completely overreact. But again, also panicking because, like, what's the ownership going to feel about, the GMs and head coaches and the head coach Kevin O'Connell who decided, that J.J. McCarthy was the guy. They let Sam Darnold walk out the door, and it hasn't really worked out since. So I think, especially Sam Darnold's playing really well in Seattle, so there's a lot of concern there. So, yeah, I'm a little panicked about the Vikings, not just for this season, because you're the clear bottom of the NFC, but to the future, because if J.J. McCarthy is your guy, Caleb and Ben Johnson are looking good. You still have the Lions with Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, and then, of course, the Packers are a really young team that continues to get better, so you're really facing potentially being at the basement of that league, which the Vikings haven't had consistently for a while.
I feel like it's too late for the panic. I'm already just done with JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. I feel like we knew after his
Like for
second
the next
start,
3
people were
years?
done.
Like for the next 3 years? Or
I'm just saying on JJ McCarthy and the Vikings and that whole storyline, that's done. I
Well, I'm
think
not
that
saying
panic.
storyline, I'm saying panic for the future.
I think they know that JJ McCarthy's not it, so they're just gonna have to draft someone else. That's all I'm saying. Like,
So
I
what are
think
they going to do
after
with
his
JJ
second
McCarthy?
start, it was a panic of like maybe after finally when he came back, one game then lost. I'd be like, okay. Now I'm just like every week I go out knowing he's gonna lose and they need a new quarterback. So
You know
like
what the weird thing is, though? He might be the most clutch quarterback in the NFL.
maybe.
Every
No,
time
Bo
he's got
Nix.
the ball
Bo
with a
Nix has
chance,
earned that this year for being
every
so
time JJ
bad.
McCarthy's got the ball, he's scored to give his team the lead. But if he's had an opportunity to do it in the fourth quarter. Yeah, if he gets a chance. Now, sometimes he doesn't get a chance, but if he gets a chance, watch out.
We'll see. Also, Baker Mayfield, I'm reading this now. Baker, who was one of the most clutch players, got injured. Teddy Bridgewater has replaced him.
Teddy Bridgewater playing in an NFL game in 2025.
Just-
Who would have thought it? Won a high school state championship
He
last
actually
year as
is-
a head coach.
He makes really funny commercials as like the backup.
Oh, because they
I
do
like
the backup
those.
commercials now. Yeah, Mitch
Yeah,
Trubisky's
today I saw
in 'em.
Tyler Huntley explain to a kid the birds and the bees talk is pretty funny.
Yeah. Nah, but Teddy Bridgewater played in a playoff game last year, too, because he played in the Lions game when Jared Goff got hurt for a little bit.
Well, speaking of Jared Goff, I'm going to my panic. Talking about the Lions. I know they won. I know they won. But they have not actually looked that good this year. They've had a few good wins, but they've also had a lot of bad losses. And if they lost today, it would have been full-out panic. But this core of Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and Jared Goff and this offensive line, I feel like they peaked last year or 2 years ago. Like, that was their window. Now they're starting to lose more pieces. They lost their coordinators. And I don't really see how they're going to get better. Their defense is just getting worse and worse. Offensively, I don't think they need anything else offensively. Laporta just got hurt for the rest of the season, so that's, a loss. I just don't know how they can get better. I feel like they need to do a weird mini reboot, at least just on defense. Their offensive line was their strength. That did come back a little bit. Now they're just probably an average O-line instead of the best O-line. It's really just Penei Sewell's great, surrounded by other guys, but it used to be like, a whole line that was so good. I don't know if they're really like even a Super Bowl contender compared to last year. They were the favorite by far. If you remember going into last season, it was like Lions, and then, they had some injuries on defense. They did get unlucky last year. I think if their defense stayed healthy and they stopped Jaden Daniels somewhat, they could have won. But now next year the window's gone.
I don't think the window's gone next year.
Well, I'm saying that's the panic, Adam. Maybe the window's done.
I
Maybe
don't
they're
think so.
past it. Maybe they open up a new window.
I mean, they're not old. It's not like they're
The
old.
offense isn't old, but I'm saying just the defense.
Defense is actually pretty young. They're just injury prone. They got to get some new
Yes,
guys in
that's
there.
what I'm saying. Their defense is always injured, and it's
Yeah.
always random guys each week. And then they lost a lot of their pieces. Now they still have Aiden Hutchinson, who's great, but
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yeah.
watching Jameis Winston light him up.
Yeah, Jack Campbell's really good, a linebacker for them, but they got talent. I mean, and Jahmyr Gibbs is in year 3 now? He's the same year as Bijan and all them. So yeah,
Is he in year 3?
Yeah, because it was him, Bijan. We're in the same class. Smith and Jigba was in that class. Yeah, they were all in the same class. So
Wow,
it's a heck of a
I think
skill
these guys
position
kind of been
class
in
right
for
now.
like a while, honestly, but.
Well,
guess
you
not.
play right away, and you're on teams that are playing in the NFC Championship game.
Well,
and-
it's because I remember their rookie season so well that I feel like, I remember it, but it was like in college, which feels like so long ago now.
yeah.
So like, I remember Jahmyr Gibbs was getting the ball was all Montgomery, and same with Bijan was all going to Algier.
Yeah, but no, I think they're definitely still a contender this year because they're a team that you don't want to play.
They're still
'cause you never
contenders,
know.
but like they're clearly not that same like team that was gonna destroy everyone like they were the last 2 years.
Yeah, but
So
maybe
we'll
they
see.
can figure it out. Maybe Jared Goff has a hard
it's a
ceiling.
panic button, Adam. It's
Yeah.
a panic button.
And hey,
It's not for sure.
maybe they should be panicked because I think the big fear would be maybe Jared Goff does have a hard ceiling, and his ceiling is what he's been with the Lions, and like he's not going to get you to that next level. He didn't do it with the Rams, and maybe he's not going to do it with the Lions either. So
I just feel like with the problem for them was their defense. So I don't want to put it all on golf, but I know what you mean.
yeah, but cause that'd be the fair concern because the Rams got rid of him in the first year he
I
was
think
gone.
we've all,
Yeah.
kind of known
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and the first year he was gone, they won the Super Bowl without him, and he hasn't been able. He helped the Lions get to really high heights, but hasn't been able to get them to where I think they want to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things work out for Detroit, but again, that division's really tough, and it's really young. Ben Johnson in Chicago, you would think are going to get better because Caleb's still a young quarterback. The Packers, of course, are going to get better. They're the youngest team in the NFL. And the Vikings, who knows what's going to happen there. So, there's just, there's a right to be concerned, especially the one thing with like the future of the NFC would be the Eagles are absolutely breaking up at some point, whether it's this year or next year. They have to. They're going to kill each other before the end of all this.
I think AJ Brown is probably gone.
Yeah.
We'll keep Saquon, keep Devontae, keep Jalen.
Yeah. Yeah, guys under contract are going to stay, but I think AJ is going to find his way out. And then, like, the Rams, of course, Stafford's going to retire at some point, like, really soon. Devontae's probably not going to be kicking for a lot longer.
Stafford still has an arm, whereas, like, Peyton Manning by the end, like, he won, but his arm did not work anymore. It was all defense. Stafford is still fueling this, like, offense.
Yeah, but, hey, who knows? Stafford wins MVP, they win the Super Bowl, he might say, I want to go out that way. Why wait till they get to see me get fragile? They'll just go out that way. Devontae might go out with them. Like, Aaron Donald went out that way.
Were people thinking this in 21 when he just went there? Or no, was that just Aaron Donald who was saying that? I think it was Aaron Donald they were saying could just go out on top.
Yeah, Stafford wasn't. If Stafford went on top, that would have been.
Remember the McVay might retire stuff?
Well, yeah, because McVay, I think, being a head coach in the NFL that young, it's got to weigh on you. Like, and he's going to always be, it seems, good enough to never get fired. So it's kind of like, do you want to go do something else?
Well, I think also, too, like, because you're, like, younger, there's a lot of pressure, and, like, you're trying to win, you're really going all out. And I feel like some of these older coaches are, like, they kind of, like, know how to, like, have a balance. But I feel like McVay's just always working as, like, the head coach. But maybe not, I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know nothing about his personal life.
Maybe his wife doesn't love LA and would rather live on the East Coast. Like, maybe that's something that's weighed on his mind, too. And you got to get out of coaching before you can get back into coaching, so...
Update: the Bucks went for it on 4th and 9, and Teddy Bridgewater was sacked for 9 yards.
Yep, I just looked over. Old Teddy.
Just kick the field goal. Kick the field goal. Take the point.
Don't kick the field. Kicking the field goal down 24
over.
is weak.
The game's over.
That's even worse. Kicking the field. I yelled that at the Penn State game yesterday when Matt Rule left the offense outside. I said, good for Matt Rule. At least he's got respect. Kicking a field goal to go down, make it 30-13. Congratulations, buddy. You're not winning anyway. At least go for it. At least practice some plays, bud. Penn State got a big win. Penn State got a big win, Chris.
Yep, they did. They won. Did not watch any of it. But
Oh, there was a crazy atmosphere in that game. There was a lot of people chanting for them to hire the new head coach that's standing there on the sidelines coaching the team right now. So it's going to be interesting to see. Their decision should come out this week. We'll be able to talk about it.
Right. Well,
We're going to have to. It's our
a lot of
highest
fun
rated.
with that, and I
It's
will
our highest
support you.
rated. It's our highest rated video. We have to talk about it. So it's our
Most viewed it is that still
and most
stuns
viewed
me.
TikTok we've had over 13,000 views.
That's insane. But
Yeah, a lot of people like Penn State football for some reason. Gives me a headache a lot of the time, but
well, that's gonna do it for this episode. We talk some Brandon Nimmo, of course, and obviously some NFL. This week we might do some basketball. Maybe.
Well, we
see.
have to. Here's the first thing. We have our football episode coming out. I think we'll do Wednesday afternoon. Is when we'll post.
Right, it's Thanksgiving this week.
We're
so
doing it
we're gonna
early.
Post
Yeah,
on Thursday.
That's why I'm not gonna go into like, oh, let's quickly predict the Thursday games. There's 3 of them, so like we'll record. Probably record Wednesday during the day, maybe post Wednesday afternoon for you guys if you guys are looking out for it. It'll be out, of course, before all the games on Thursday, so you guys should be able to get all that out. Definitely want to talk some basketball. The Lakers and Jazz are playing right now. Luka had a crazy highlight play I saw as the Jazz continue to lose, which is good for Utah. Yeah, but now we'll have that episode coming out on Wednesday most likely. Oh, it's actually a close game, Chris. 107-103 Lakers with a minute to go in the fourth.
We'll see.
Hey, can we just quick thing? What the heck is Lauri Markkanen doing? Dude is balling.
Why?
He's averaging like 30 points a game.
Oh no, he's good again this year.
I know. It's like man, he's rising up that trade value that he's going to be, of course, on the block at the deadline. So, yeah,
We'll see. I genuinely just think they last year were just trying to lose, and that's kind of hard.
Well, he didn't play. He didn't play last year. He got hurt. Like, he didn't play many games last year. So, yeah, he missed a bunch of last season. Yeah, but the NBA, it's been a weird NBA season. The Heat are really good.
There's a whole thing about they're not doing pick and rolls anymore. They're kind of just driving and then kicking out and driving and trying to have this constant motion. Interesting to watch.
Is Spo the best coach in the NBA? Like, is that, like,
I've
official?
said this every year. I'm tired
feels
of having
like
this
it
discussion
every
every year. We know he is. He's just the team roster isn't always that good.
It's disrespectful he's never won Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
Absolutely
the coach of the year,
disrespectful.
you have to be like with the new team for you to win it.
I know, but, like, at some point, you got to look and be like, Jimmy's not there anymore, and they're still good. Like, that's impressive. Like, I understood when he didn't win it when he had LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh, because it's like, yeah, at that point you thought, well, anybody could coach that team, and it would be able to make it work. But, yeah, so, like, yeah, the NBA's been weird. Like, the Sixers, sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really bad. They're 9-7. Like, they're a weird roller coaster team. The Knicks have been good with Mike Brown. Yeah, it's been a weird NBA season to start. Of course, it's early, so everything's going to work its way out. But anything you want to talk? You like to talk basketball. I'm trying to tee you up here, but I'm trying to.
I mean, I feel like at this point we're just saving for the NBA Cup because I feel like we're also dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and I feel like that's where the discussion is kind of headed because the pace of play is going so fast that we're seeing guys' calves be strained like once a month. Someone else has a calf strain. Aaron Gordon's now injured with a hamstring strain. It's just like we're getting to where people are ramping up too quickly and they're getting hurt. And most of the injuries happen in every sport at the beginning of the season when your body's like first exposed to all this, and if it can't handle it is when something happens. And it's kind of the worst part of the season for me. Kind of hurts a little bit.
We're getting close to having the games missed watch for guys to get postseason accolades because you got to play 65 games. So you only missed 17, so we're getting close to that. Got to keep an eye on those. LeBron's back, which is good for the league. I think the best thing for the league, though, is the fact that ratings were really high when LeBron wasn't playing. Gives you a lot of positives on when he retires eventually. That
I
league's
was
in good
thinking
hands.
about this. I honestly don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of people that used to just watch LeBron and not care about the rest of the league. I feel like in the last few years, they've kind of already stopped watching anyways. Like, I feel like LeBron wasn't enough of a draw probably, like, in 2022. It, like, once he wasn't going to the finals every year, I think we kind of saw the NBA kind of start changing its direction. However, for me, too, like, I'm going to watch basketball no matter what. But it is just amazing to watch someone who you know is an all-time great. Like, every game, it feels like, is going to impact his legacy, even though it's not, and that sounds stupid, but, like,
Oh, it will,
This
though.
guy is going
It
to
will.
live on
Yeah.
and go down as a top
Yep.
at least 3 player all time.
Yeah. No.
That's fun to watch for me. Where I mean, Wembanyama is the only guy I feel like could, but I don't think even if everything goes right, it might not even equal that.
Yeah. I think there's some guys that can. It takes like a perfect. Everything falls in
But like
order
LeBron
for
went to
them.
the finals like a
Yeah,
whole
that's
decade, damn
that's
near, except
never
2019.
that's never gonna happen again.
Yeah,
But,
like that type of thing where every year this guy's in the finals. This is insane.
well, I guess it could happen. I mean, if you get like, let's say Wembanyama was in the East.
I just still don't think, because even Wembanyama, like we thought, all right, if this guy's amazing as advertised, but he gets hurt all the time because he's 7'5", 7'6".
Like, I think Luca in the East with like a solid cast could be like the top dog in the East.
I
every
know,
year.
but usually like, especially nowadays, we had this argument a few weeks ago. It's so hard to keep a good team around that teams keep having to reset. So like, especially back then, before it was even more restrictive, you could have the Cavs having a similar great group, or not even great group. By the end, they were bad, but
yeah, that's like, it kind of has to be a guy like a Luca or like a LeBron-esque where they have the ball in their hands, they're doing everything. It's kind of like just, well, plug and place the role players around them that are going to knock down the shots and do all that. Like, it's got to be someone that maintains the ball and like everything's through that guy. So
Lakers won 108-106.
Wow, close. Good loss for the Jazz. Great loss for the Jazz.
We'll do more basketball coming up for the NBA Cup. I want to save a lot of it for that.
Man, for the NBA Cup. I didn't think you cared
It's a big
about
deal,
the NBA
Adam.
Cup. It is not a big deal. Can we stop
when you
this?
talk about Jordan versus LeBron, how many NBA Cups has Michael Jordan won?
Okay, are we doing this? Because I have an interesting conversation about if we're going to do this way.
Yes.
Darvin Ham, the greatest coach of all time.
He's
never
tied
lost
for
an
the most
NBA
NBA
Cup.
Cups ever. He has to be in the discussion.
He's never lost an NBA Cup game.
I know, Adam. I'm with you.
Yeah, no,
because he won last year. Good point.
Yeah, he
I
won with the
forgot about
Bucks.
that.
He won
Wait, the
as an
Bucks won
assistant.
last year, right? It was Lakers and Bucks. I forgot.
He's never lost. It's crazy.
I forgot the Bucks won last year, to be honest with you.
That's why they got to change the playoffs to an NBA Cup tournament. Just change the name and like the locker room for Milwaukee. They'll never lose again. Darvin will be locked in.
The year the Bucks won, the year the Lakers won, they didn't lose to Denver in the first round.
Was that the year they lost in the first round or lost them in the conference finals?
It definitely was the conference finals, because that was more years ago.
Well, they lost to them in the conference finals, and the next year lost to them in the first round. I just don't know which.
But it was 2
order
years ago, and that definitely wasn't last year. The Lakers lost in the conference finals.
Well, yeah,
lost in the first round, so it had to be.
Last
I think
year
it was. So both teams that won the cup lost in the first round.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
How it works. They got to give a bigger compensation for that.
I feel like you should be like guaranteed either like home court for the first round, or like even like you're guaranteed at worst a play-in seed.
Man.
I don't know.
We'll see.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yep. All right. You got anything you want to say before we get out of here, Chris?
Yeah. Just everyone think about Brandon Nimmo and the Mets saving money and how he's not actually that good. If you are sad, you're still attached to him emotionally.
People like Brandon Nimmo. Chris, I guarantee there's someone that they traded that wasn't very good that you liked and you would have been upset about.
Yes, but I'm not commenting like what. Wow. Here's the thing. It's not like one person. It's like Mets pages are like shocking, and it's like he's been being shopped the whole offseason. That was known.
I remember people that made a big deal, and this is in Packers world, but like when Jordy Nelson got let go, I remember my one family friend, he texted me, and like they had bought like the shares to be like an owner, because like you can buy like it's not very expensive to be a part owner. He texted his dad. He goes, as a part owner, I'm offended that I was not involved in this decision to get rid of Jordy Nelson. Like people were really upset when they got rid of Jordy Nelson. Like it happens. Now I'm not saying Brandon Nimmo's a great player anymore, but
yeah. Well, we'll see. But we'll end it there. Let everyone go. We'll be back on Wednesday for our Thanksgiving football preview. But anything else?
Yes, sir. Nope, I am good, Christopher. I am fantastic. Do you want to close out? Do you want me to
see you on
close out?
Wednesday.
All right, yeah, you got it.
I just did it, man.
I didn't know if you wanted to close out.
Thank you for listening. We'll see.
You can do it.
See you all Wednesday.